Hello, welcome to Spilling the Business Tea with me, Taylor Bradford. I am talking about productivity hacks today because who couldn't stand to be more productive in their day? So let's dive into the tips. Tip number 1, start every morning by rewriting your purpose. And also include 5 to 10 things that you are grateful for. What this does is it allows your brain to come back into a joy kind of situation. You're raising your vibration, and it allows you to focus on what is important, and that's living with purpose. Purpose is what drives your importance in life. Purpose is what gives you meaning, both in your life and in business. So start your day every day by writing down what your purpose is, and then also writing 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for. Number 2. So one of my mottos in life is, if it's not a hell yes, it has to be a no, because I feel like we are constantly pulled in all of these directions, and we end up saying yes to things that aren't really in alignment with our purpose, with why we do what we do. And I don't really think it's always in align with the life we're trying to create, that vision that we created for ourselves last week. So what I want you to do is take back control of your calendar and allow yourself a couple of times a month to say yes to things that continue nurturing friendships, relationships, etc., whether they're business or personal. And then everything else needs to be a no. And the reason that everything else needs to be a no is it starts detracting from what it is that you're working on or what it is that you're working towards. And I think that's a very important distinction, because if we're constantly saying yes to things that aren't truly serving the purpose that we're trying to continue to live out, then we're taking steps backwards in our efforts. And while nurturing relationships is really, really important, not all of them need you to say yes. So if it's not a hell yes, it needs to be a no automatically. But if there are people that are just vying for your time, allow some of that to happen, but keep a tight rein on it. Say yes to 2 things that you maybe don't typically say yes to, if it falls in line with the purpose of what you are aiming for. So that's a huge distinction, and you might end up saying no more often once you start reframing your mindset. But take back control of your calendar. Don't say yes to everything. Make sure when you do say yes that it is in alignment and it is serving a purpose for you, whether it's nurturing a relationship with a friend, family, business, whatever it might be. Tip number 3, turn on that do not disturb mode on your phone or your computer. I do this a lot, especially when I'm either A, on a deadline, or B, I'm recording and I don't need things dinging or a notification popping up to distract me from the task at hand. So when I am recording, I do turn the computers, my phone on do not disturb. And then also when I'm working on a task that does require my full, undivided attention, I need to make sure that I'm in do not disturb mode, because I am guilty of squirrel moments. Shiny object syndrome. Where? This one is hard for me to do sometimes because I do go down this rabbit hole. If you could only see my computer tabs, there's a gajillion of them. It's kind of like an organizational filing system for my brain. I'll leave one tab open because I know I got to go back to it and I don't want to forget it, so it's a constant reminder. It's not a good thing all the time. I need to take care of it and just do it, but I'm constantly working on the squirrel moments because life, just sometimes. All right, on to the next tip. Tip number 4 is for you to schedule time to check your email. And I know that it is when you're waiting, especially when you're waiting on an email to come in, like right now, I am waiting on this one email to show up and land in my inbox. And so I'm constantly every 5-10 minutes, I'm either anticipating a notification to pop through, or I'm looking to see if the number on the email has changed. from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, because that's triggering that an email has come through, and I am waiting for an email. Right now, legitimately, I am waiting for an email. But we don't need to be checking our emails like that, because that means we are giving away our time. We're giving away instant access to ourselves. Now, there is a school of thought that some people in the sales world are like, you need to respond to your emails within 5 to 10 minutes of receiving them. And while I am at my computer a lot, and I am sometimes able to do that, it's not always the best thing to be doing. So if you find yourself constantly checking your email or leaving your email up and being distracted by the constant notifications, turn that do not disturb mode on, but also set time for you to sit down and check back in with your email. So sometimes I do that the first thing in the morning after I have, woken myself up and etc. I will check in with my email, and then I will set some times throughout the day to do that if I'm not in front of my computer. But sometimes I'm just like, wow, okay, email. And so I got to get better at that too. So we're talking productivity hacks and how we can get better and be more productive in our day. Tip number 5, and this one might seem a little like, really? That could limit your productivity? But when you start singing along to a song that you know the lyrics to, it can absolutely steal from your productivity. Like, absolutely. So if you find yourself doing that a lot and you're now singing, you're not concentrating on the thing that you're working on, I would limit the type of music that you're listening to throughout your workday or throughout your time that you are working to music with very few lyrics. Because once your brain picks up on a song, and I know sometimes we do this unconsciously, we will just start singing. And sometimes I'll think to myself, how do I still know those lyrics? Crazy. But I will. And so I'll start singing, and then it will take away from what it is that I'm doing. Now, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. So if you find yourself in that weird space where you're constantly singing to the music you're listening to, it has pulled your focus from the task that you are working on. So maybe consider listening to music with a little less lyrics. Tip number 6. When you are writing your to-do list, I want you to consider what your top 3 things are for your day, and I want you to focus on making sure those top 3 things get tackled. So at the end of the day, what would make you feel like, oh my gosh, today was amazeballs because I got XYZ accomplished? I want those to be the top 3 things that you need to tackle in your day, and make sure you tackle them. Because at the end of the day, when you get to ask yourself, holy crap, today was amazing, what made it amazing? Getting those top 3 things done. So make your top 3, whatever they are, for your day. When you're writing your list, make the top 3 the actual ones that will make you feel like you got something accomplished in that particular day. Tip number 7, schedule tasks that only take you 2 minutes to do that are sitting on your to-do list. So when you're looking at your to-do list, you've got it written out, you've got your top 3 there, you know that those are really, really important to tackle in that particular day. But I want you to also look at the rest of your list and what can you tackle in a 2-minute time period? And how many of them can you tackle in a 2-minute time period? And then I want you to tell yourself, okay, at 1:30, I am going to knock out those 5 2-minute tasks. And I promise you, this will get you back on track. Wherever you schedule these 2-minute tasks, this will help you get you back on track if you schedule to do them in your day. Tip number 8, delegate. Assign tasks to other people. I know that this can be really challenging, especially when you are doing all the things, wearing all the hats all by yourself, but you got to get used to delegating. And if you aren't in a position to hire somebody just yet, whether it's part-time or full-time, I would consider finding a virtual assistant that can take some of these tasks off of your plate a couple hours a week. There are plenty of virtual assistants out in the world that can help you be more productive, and I'm going to encourage you to find somebody that can work 5 hours a week for you, 10 hours a week for you, 15 hours a week for you, whatever it might be. Hand off the tasks that you don't have time to do, but are still incredibly necessary. I have personally had a variety of virtual assistants throughout the years. I now actually have an assistant that works for me. I actually have two now, one that is specific to Sugar Creek and one that is specific to our roofing business. What they are able to produce that allows me to focus on the things that help generate more money is life-giving. So even if you aren't in a position to bring somebody on, I want you to find a virtual assistant to take on some of those tasks where they're not necessarily working for you part-time or full-time. Now, if you are in a position to bring somebody on part-time or full-time, start delegating more to them, because I promise you, the more that you can delegate out, the more you can focus on the revenue generating tasks, and now you're starting to work like clockwork. Tip number 9. If you don't know it, learn it, especially if it's going to help you get to that next level in your world, with your vision, with your mission, whatever it might be. Help to continue to fuel your purpose. So I didn't know how to do anything regarding publishing a book. And so I needed to buy a course that would help me understand the different facets of publishing a book. And I also did a lot of research on all the things that I could find for free via Google and YouTube on all things to publishing a book, like the pros and the cons of traditional publishing and self-publishing. How do I do the things? How do I turn it into a PDF? How do I get it into Kindle? How do I, like, all of these things I needed to know, because it was going to help me actually put a book out into the world. If it makes sense and it's something that you don't know how to do, I want you to invest time and money and resources into learning how to do that thing, but only if it directly helps you move forward. If it doesn't, allow your assistant to learn it, or hire somebody that already knows how to do it and let them tackle that thing for you. Tip number 10, embrace the workflows. I promise you, if you don't have workflows in place, your life will be forever changed once you put them in. Also, canned email responses, anything that you can automate, anything that you can batch, do that. Start getting into the habit of doing that, because it will save you so much time in the future if you have standard operating procedures or workflows all set up. So when I have an inquiry come through, I have canned emails that I just click a button, change out some things, and send it out. And in that one email, I am acknowledging that they emailed, that they inquired. I'm acknowledging their date. This is for Sugar Creek. I'm acknowledging that they're wanting to rent items from my collection, and then I'm giving them a calendar link so that they can book a time into my calendar that works for them. So my calendar is what I live by. So when I send that link out, they can only book a time in where I'm not already booked. It's life-giving. So if you haven't already invested in putting together workflows, putting together standard operating procedures, the things that you're doing over and over and over and over, you need a workflow for, you need a standard operating procedure for. That way, as you grow and you bring on new team members, you have a manual that they can study and learn and start replicating the tasks that you're doing exactly how you want them done. Huge productivity hack. Huge. Number 11, unsubscribe and unfollow the people, the emails that do not make sense or do not align with you any longer. If you could see the amount of emails I have sitting in my inbox, oh my gosh, you would just be like, Taylor, why? I have a lot of actual emails sitting on my phone, and they have been with me for years and years and years and years and years, and none of them are at inbox 0. There's a thing called SaneBox. You might consider looking into it. I did a trial with them a long time ago, and it kind of helped me clean up my inbox. But when I'm running so many different emails, it's just not, like, I have been intentionally unsubscribing. I don't know how I end up on people's lists. Actually, I think people are buying people's emails and then putting you on there, which is a federal law that they are breaking. The CAN Spam Act, I think of 2003. I think CAN Spam Act. Anyway, you cannot put somebody's email on your email list without their express permission. Like, they have to go sign up for it. You can't just get a list and take it. You can't. That's illegal. Anyways, unsubscribe, unfollow, get rid of the noise that's taking up precious time. Tip number 12, create a no strategy. Okay, hear me out on this one. How many times do you get pitched, daily, weekly, monthly, to do things that just aren't ever going to be in alignment? So Sugar Creek would get pitched a lot for styled shoots, and I had to put rules together because I'm like, you want my pretty things, but you don't want to send me a paid client? No. I have a gajillion photographer relationships. If I needed more material, I'll just go produce my own content. I don't need your content because you're not sending me business. Now, if you have a paid client on my books in the next 3 months, I will say yes to your editorial. But if you don't, then it's 50% of the actual cost for me to get those rentals to you. At the end of the day, if I'm making you pretty, you got to help put money in my pocketbook. And if you don't, then you're going to pay and put money in my pocketbook. So, create a no template for the things that you get asked a lot. It'll just make it easier for you to say no. It's just a quick email. Hey, listen, I super appreciate you reaching out. This is not a good fit for us at this time. Please consider us in the future. Whatever it might be, short and sweet, to the point, and say no. Make your life simple. Promise. Okay, 2 more tips to go. Tip number 13, stop the multitasking. I, Taylor, have this problem. I multitask too much. Stop the multitasking because it truly does limit your productivity every single day when you try to multitask, because you are pulled in too many directions that you can't get one task accomplished. So stop multitasking. Taylor, stop multitasking. Multitasking is really not super productive, and the goal is productivity of this particular episode, and so we got to stop multitasking. I am guilty of this every single day. I multitask too much. I got to stop because it truly is killing my productivity. All right, on to the last tip. Tip number 14, take time to pamper yourself. Make sure self-care is important. It is why pillar number 9 in my book, which you can get a link down below in the description, it is why it's part of my pillars. It is pillar number 9, self-care. If you are not taking care of yourself, you are not going to be functioning on all 8 cylinders, 10 cylinders, 12 cylinders, whatever. Your batteries won't be fully charged. You will not be able to bring your A game every single moment of your day if you're not taking care of yourself. Self-care is so incredibly important, and I want you to make it a priority, and it truly is a productivity hack. Because if you aren't up to the task, not feeling it, you're not going to be productive. And that will be a productivity killer. And we're not in that business. We're in the business of being productive, not busy. We're not going to be busy. We're going to be productive. 2 different things. All right, thank you so much for watching today's Spilling the Business Tea with me. And if you haven't checked out my podcast, I hope you'll consider doing that. And if you have yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do so. I will cue it up for you right now. And until next week, cheers.